Yes, I'm looking forward to our conversation, Jerry, and great to see you. Yes,
Yes,
looking forward to it.
I would like to say that today is cloudy in Plzeň, in the Czech Republic. What about your place?
The sun is shining. And the weather forecast says it will be 23 degrees Celsius today. Well, we'll see.
Hmm.
It might be the case. It might not be the case. It's the Netherlands. It's a coastal country next to the North Sea, so there's always some wind from sea, or anyway, depends on where the wind is blowing, what kind of weather we will get.
What is your town, if I may remind me, please?
Hilversum.
Thank you. I will check it in the map after the talk.
Hilversum, H-I-L, Hilversum.
Thank you. So let's get down to business straight away. I would like to say that this is my second talk with you about life.
Yeah.
We have done one before. So also I would like to welcome our listeners. I would like to say that I am grateful that you are listening to us, and it's great that you found time. And I prepared one question for you. I would like to let it flow a little bit. So tell me, would you like to share which things from the professional or personal field are important in your life at this very moment, Frank?
Last time we discussed some things about spirituality, and I think spirituality, which is for me not the same as religion. Yeah, spirituality is your connection, or my connection to my true self, you could say, or the real you. Is for me very important, and to open that connection, to keep it open, and let the information, the wisdom, the compassion, the loving kindness flow through that gate into my body, and into my, you could say, my total beingness, so it can be so I can spread that, so I can send that out to other people. That's the ultimate challenge in one way, but also, it's my passion, it's my calling also to do that.
Thank you. I noted it. Do you find one more thing, maybe, which is important in your life at this moment? One more, please.
Another thing in my life right now, and that's more mundane, is that right now I'm working also as a college professor. And what I see nowadays is that many young people, they come to college in the Netherlands, they call it here University of Applied Sciences, mostly connected to universities here in the Netherlands. Those University of Applied Sciences or colleges, many young people are start to study there, and many of them are somehow very anxious. They are not feeling balanced, and they feel a lot of pressure and stress. Not all of them, but I think since COVID, it has been increasing, and there has been done a lot of research, not only here in the Netherlands, but also in other places in Europe, in which is indicating to the same phenomena, and that is that young people are disbalanced, insecure, don't know what to choose, and have less positive outlook on life than previous generations, probably. I'm not counting, of course, the generation just after the Second World War, but the idea here in the Netherlands was always that my sons would improve their life much better than I was able to do so. So they go to a next level, and since sometimes that's not a guaranteed way of moving forward for them. So that's bugging them. That's really something that's bugging them. And I, as a college professor, help them to somehow, when I'm able to do that in a lot of discussions and conversations, to somehow find their own bright spot to say, okay, what makes you smile? What is your real passion? What is your real purpose in life? Because once you found that somehow, some way, it propels you forward in a positive, an optimistic way, which in the end reduces stress. Maybe a long answer to your question, but this is
Frank, I will dare to summarize what you said before I proceed with my two things.
Yes.
because it's a partnership discussion. It's you and me together, so we are sharing, we are giving each other same space.
Yes.
So this if I understood correctly, it's about spirituality and new generation. Maybe I missed out something.
No, these are the most right now. These are the most. These are the focus points. Yeah, and of course, my personal health and well-being in general. But you know, these are. I think these two aspects are the most important ones. Correct. Yeah.
I would resonate with that totally, and even with the health, the third one.
Yes.
And I would add to it from my side, I would add to it work, because sometimes we are down, sometimes we are up, and we must continue in the abundance way. So I would add to it work, and I would add to it health you mentioned. So maybe home and family, health,
Sure.
home and family, and working related things. So we have 6 things to discuss today, and I would like to say that Frank van den Horst, if I read it correctly and pronounce it correctly, because when I was in the Netherlands, I learned "Hoe gaat het met jou? Mir gaat het goed." This phrase, this is only one I know. How are you? And my name is Jiří Borch. We are talking friendly and positively with my good friend and colleague Frank. So let's do it. So we started with the spirituality. So here arises from my side one question. Do you think this is a new thing, spirituality? Is it like a modern term which emerged recently, new age, esoteric spirituality? Or do you think this has been here the long time in the history? What is your opinion?
I think as long as human beings, in what kind of form, have walked the earth, spirituality is part of them. The other thing is, are they conscious? Were they conscious of it? And if you look at the indigenous people, you know, people who live in nature, much more related to nature, then you see that the connection to spirit is, and the spirit of the woods, the spirits of the fields. You remember the Indian stories, you American Indians, you know, they really relate to the Great Spirit. Later on, religion kicked in, and religion is not right or wrong, but religion, you know, gives you a kind of context in which spirituality has been defined. Yeah, I'm raised as a Roman Catholic, and without going to the details, we can all see what implications that have. You know, great teachings of Jesus Christ, being more compassionate and things like that. You know, we can all embrace that, I guess. But there are also aspects in which I really frown. I don't think so. Well, what has to do with spirituality? It has to do more to do with power and control. So spirituality, for me, in its purest form, is the deeply felt connection to your soul's energy. And before you come here, when you reincarnate, to put it that way, or when you get born, are being born, your soul is actually going to have a journey here on earth. And everyone who have seen a person who is deceased, then you see only a corpse. There's no life in there anymore. So what you could say that the spirit is gone. Where that spirit is gone, different religions define it in a different way, and I'll leave it by that. But it's going to somewhere because it's energy, and from physics we know energy doesn't die, to put it that way. It's just transformed. So for me, spirituality, yes, it has been here, and the spiritual consciousness somehow, some way, I guess, because we don't have recordings of the first people here on earth, of human beings, is being a part of who we are. Just look at the deceased person and you see the difference.
I have just because thank you for sharing. I think what you are saying is very interesting. Myself, I am a little bit not so educated in this field, so I used GPT chat right now to define spirituality. Very briefly, I will read the first sentence. It's a broad and multi-faced concept that encompasses various beliefs, practices, experiences, and perspectives related to the exploration and understanding of the self, the universe, and the transcendent. It involves seeking meaning, purpose, and connection beyond the material and mundane aspect of life. If I say it with my own words, I think this is very important to be loving, to be compassionate, to be kind, to be positive, to help other people and try to understand them and lead a good life. So then when you look back before you die, you say to yourself, I led a good life, and the people also say it about you. So this is how I feel about the spirituality. And you mentioned that it has been here a long time. The old tribes and old indigenous peoples. And these times I'm listening to the Greg Braden. He is on YouTube, and he's telling about these spiritual things. So I like it, and I listen to him sometimes. And some people say this is like esoteric, and it's too esoteric. But I think it's not the mainstream, but the other way to look at it. And everybody should respect each other's opinions and looks. So this is my opinion about spirituality.
Yeah, well, and I would like to add, thank you for sharing that, because also ChatGPT summarizes it in a great way. But just for the listeners, you might not believe in anything we have said until now. But when you are in despair, when there is a crisis, when there is really something immediately happen, many people just yell out, "Oh my God." Oh my God is a call for help, a call for assistance. When people go to the hospital and get the results of the test, and the doctor says, I'm unfortunately, I have to say, you have the beginning of cancer. People are not smiling. They refer to something to feel a kind of embracement, to feel they want to be held. They want to be felt as a human being. They want to be taken care of. Most of the people are starting to cry. Although you might be a very tough lady, or very tough man, or whatever human being, you will somehow, somewhere say, "Oh my God," is my personal opinion. And doing things like and asking something or saying something like this, in whatever connotation, maybe different religious background, say something else, but the "oh my God" sentence refers to the fact that you want support, whether you're religious or not.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for saying it. Now let's move to the next words. These are new generation, topic number 2. Let me start, if you don't mind, because I have observed from my niece and my nephew, who are 3 years and 5 years, that they are so-called rainbow generation, or they sometimes people call it like that. They are fast learners. When Timmy, my nephew, came to the school, he was correcting the teacher. He was there the first day in the first grade of school, 6 years old, 5 years old probably, and he was correcting the teacher. And the teacher said, "When you are so clever, then read out this text for me." And she gave him some hard text, and he read it fluently. And in the mathematics class, he did really so well also. And they are on YouTube all the time studying like how to forge an X in the medieval things. He was looking at this video. I thought he would be watching some fairy tales, but he is watching like really good stuff. Sometimes you must correct it, of course. So I think this is a very fast learning generation, and every generation, as you mentioned before, is more clever, more observing, and faster learners. This is what I observed. What do you think about the new generation?
That's absolutely a fascinating observation. And I've observed that also. Referring to my first statement about the generation is also referring about, finding a house, finding a decent job, things like that. These are under pressure right now. And that's what I was referring to. If you look at the whole system I'm working in as an educator, you could say, well, is that adapted to the children you just mentioned, whether you call them crystals children or whatever connotation and qualification, indigenous children, those natural fast learners, when actually they don't learn, they just express their thoughts and feelings and ideas and the insights. So they already are wired with something that we used to say, well, you have to teach them things because they don't know what it is all about. I don't know if you look at the word education, it's come from the root word educare from Latin. And the interesting thing is, it is actually taking out, putting on the front what's already in there. So you could say, if you look at a white canvas, you can make a very simple drawing there, but it can also be a Leonardo da Vinci design or a Rembrandt design or whatever, a Picasso. It means that it is an expression of who you are. The slate is white, so you can make anything on it, whatever you want. For me, referring to what you said, I think it's very important that we help those children and assist them in expressing their thoughts and feelings and their insights as they have it, and not compressing it or pressing it in one kind of framework, because that is our educational system. And I think at that moment there, the pressure starts there, the stress starts to develop, because they have to perform in a certain way and they feel something completely different and they act in a different way. And so I think it is very valuable that you share this observation. And I think it is very, very necessary that we pay much more attention to children who have this innate ability and show it to us. I think our educational system has to be updated in that respect.
Yes, Frank, I will share in the chat, but I will share it in the chat on LinkedIn so that you don't lose it. One TED Talk, which is inspirational talk by Mr. Sir Ken Robinson about Do Schools Kill Creativity? Maybe you have heard it before.
Oh, yes.
However, it's a long one. It's a nice one. And he's talking about, basically with one sentence, if I summarize it, he's talking about that we should support the children in which they are good at. So if they are good dancers, painters, mathematicians, we should support their dream and not to throw obstacles before them. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's why I focus in my life and in my business. They, of course, intertwined. Focusing on facilitating people to unlock and activate their untapped potential, and that untapped potential, you could say, is the field of all possibilities, and it's a source of creation. And I think that the moment that we are able and willing to create certain spaciousness in which people can express, and young people especially, can express their creativity, in what form, I think is crucial for society, and it's crucial, especially for them, of course, but also crucial for the development of our society. Mm-hmm. If you look at young children, look at the younger Yuri, you look at the younger Frank, we're all curious. Mm-hmm. We walk around, we want to taste, we pick up something from the fields, we want to put it in our mouth, and like your dad or your mom said, no, you cannot eat that, and you just want to do this. So curiosity is a superpower we all possess, but somehow, some way, it's redirected and maybe not suppressed, but framed in a certain way to educate people. Mm-hmm. As such, that is not bad, but does that help you to become and stay really creative? The ability to create. I think that's essential. Mm-hmm.
And I would like to say that we are now in the middle of our podcast, approximately, because we have covered 2 out of 5 questions. Before us is the health. However, I need to go to the toilet quickly. I will be human and open with everybody. So let's stop it for 1 minute. Please get some more drinks. And this is for not only for Frank, getting your oxygen into your brain, but for all our listening people in the human way. So I'll be back in 1 minute, Frank. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I'm back. So 1 minute is gone. I'm back, and I would like to say that just before Frank comes back, I would like to say that I had the curiosity story. We were at some event outside, and I was eating small blueberries, yes, from the tree. And then I realized that hey, you see, this could be the very, very poisonous berries, which are called durman, the evil-hearted in the Czech language. And when you eat it, you immediately die. Yes. So I was so afraid. And finally, it turned out these were plums, like a wild plums. So it was fine. And there was no effect. Everything was fine. But I was really afraid at that time. So I would like to encourage children here, don't eat outside everything. Consult your parents. Frank, thanks for coming back.
Yes.
Next, we are talking about health. I will give you space to tell your brief insight on health. How do you proceed with health in your life?
Health for me is your innate and natural ability to help your cells to do what they are supposed to do in your life. And your cells means your muscles, your brain, etc. As I look at it, we are all wired with an inbuilt cleaning system and an inbuilt system to rejuvenate, and for it, quite simple. You have a cut in your finger, yeah, it happens. And, when it's not too deep, it will heal by itself. When it's very deep, you have to go to the hospital probably and get a few stitches. They put a tape on it or some bandage, things like that. And then it heals by itself. We all know that. We all know that. We were young, we fell on our knees, we had an injured knee, your mother or whatever put a band-aid on it and gave you probably a cookie or a sweet or whatever, and you went off again and played with your friends. So that's how our body heals itself. So I was always fascinating, but how does this healing work? So I tried to figure that out, and from a more integrative medicine point of view, I feel that this innate ability has to get some new and more focused attention. And of course, there's a lot of alternative therapies that do that, Ayurveda and things like that. That doesn't regard the fact that our mainstream medicine does a great job. I mean, I don't say that we should be disregarded, not at all. But it has to be balanced much more than it is balanced right now. If you look at acupuncture, it is, I think, more than 3,000 years old, something like that, and it works. It works for many people, and it is a fascinating way to put a needle, a very tiny needle, just at a spot, and you can measure the fact that some energy streams are working better in your body, and the healing starts by itself. That doesn't mean that you will probably heal by using acupuncture and broken leg. I have no recollection of that. I don't know exactly how that works, but what works, it helps the healing process, and you have to go to a surgeon or whatever to get that fixed. But in 6 weeks, when it's not too complicated, your arm will be taken out of the plaster and do some exercises, some physiotherapy and things like that. And a few months later, you can use it as before. Yeah, we all know that. We have to embrace it, and we have to trust our body's knowledge. And I think that's one of the most important things that we have to relearn and rediscover.
I agree with you. I stopped smoking using not only acupuncture, but also acupuncture. There was one monk coming from Tibet, and he was visiting in the uh, local Potala place, which was just in our house when I was living in Prague still. So I went down to the basement to meet him, and he, for free, he did the acupuncture, and I stopped smoking. After 20 years of smoking, I stopped smoking. So I believe in it, and it should it's a good way. However, I would like to add the hardening, which is cold shower, cold water, embracement for a short time. So I would like to encourage everybody to go to the cold water for a brief moment, and outside in the lake, or if you haven't this opportunity, take a cold shower just for 1 minute every day. And it really helped me, and I haven't been ill for a long time. And also walking barefoot, if you have this opportunity. Not always it's possible in the city, but if you are in the park and there is grass, for a couple of minutes a day, please walk barefoot without foot, without shoes, and it's also helping a lot. So these two things, and then eating healthily, which I mean not too much sugar, not too much processed food, which is a long time in the freezer or in the can, not too much fatty food, and not too much fried food. So these are my advices. And exercise at least 5 minutes every day. It's not important long time, but short time exercise for your back, doing some basic exercises from YouTube, you can watch it, and this helps me. I'm talking for myself now. These 5 things help me to stay healthy.
Yeah, and I would like to add that in Dutch we say zitten is het nieuwe roken. That means sitting on your chair is the new smoking addiction. Yeah, that means that if you don't, many people nowadays sit behind the screen like we do, which is fine, which is great stuff. But at the same time, you have to get out. So I have my Apple Watch directing me. It's time to start walking, Frank. So and it helps. It's a great reminder to do that. The second thing I would like to say is I'm a fan of Mediterranean diet. A Mediterranean diet means not that you eat pastas or that you always eat the pizza. You know, that's not Mediterranean diet. It's related to that, but it's to fresh food from the season, some fish, olive oil, very important, avocados, things like that help you to rebalance your body in a natural way. And I often do lengthy keto sessions in which I refer to leave everything out which is not healthy for me. Although I love to have a glass of beer or a glass of wine, I just leave it there, and then I immediately feel that my body is improving. Cut the sugars, very important. Cut the sugars, and intermittent fasting. Don't eat between 8 o'clock in the evening and 1 o'clock in the morning. You could say 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. So that's important. So 16 hours. So I never have breakfast, and that keeps my weight at a very good level, to put it that way.
Thank you. I would like to follow up on that. We are talking with Frank and Jiří. My name is Jiří. I'm talking with Frank about life. And this is the second volume of our talks. So if anybody has any questions, please under this video, put those questions. We will be happy to answer every single one question. Or if you want to comment how you like it, what would you like to listen in the third part? Because here I would like to challenge you to the third talk with me in the future. Frank, if you accept, I would be honored.
Yes. Let's do that. Let's do that after my visit to the US. I'm going in this year, in end of this month, to the US to meet my friends Rick, Gabriele, and Peter M. Fellows, in which I have the Road Ahead Cafe podcast and a community. And we're going to do our third annual event on the 3rd of May. It's called Effortless Change, and how it helps you to boost your self-care, and it will be great.
Will be on place or will be online? Or
it will be on place. So I'm going to the US, and it will be at the quantum healing wellness spa in Bradford Hills in New York.
Nice, perfect. Enjoy it and safe trip.
Yeah, thank you.
Will get well back soon. I'll be looking forward. Thank you, Frank, for coming today. It was a pleasure, and thank you for sharing with me.
Thank you for having me for the second time. I love it, and I hope the listeners will benefit of our conversation somehow. And look forward to the comments. If there are any comments, I will be glad, of course, to answer them to my to the best I can, best way I can.